As 1920 progressed, proposed IRA attacks in County Mayo became more difficult due to the police activity and armed searches. IRA men began to feel it was unsafe to sleep at home, so a flying column came into existence. The establishment of flying columns increased the number and scale of IRA attacks across the country. The Mayo brigades increased their activity thanks to urgings from IRA GHQ. The staffs of the 4 Mayo brigades agreed that each brigade should mount a major operation against the Crown forces as soon as possible. As a result of the Mayo Brigade conference held in January 1921, the Ballyglass and Shra companies drew up plans for an ambush in March 1921.
The essence of an ambush is to wait upon an identified target on a known route and attack that target when it appears. However, this does not take into account the planning and preparation required. Planning also involved securing the proposed site of attack, blocking access roads together with removing any civilians and others hostile to the IRA from the site of the attack. It also required that the IRA section charged with firing on the target were secure enough to carry out the assault. Finally, all lines of communication needed to be cut so that information about the attack could not be communicated to the enemy.
Ballinrobe was then garrisoned by the Border Regiment, and a lorry load of these troops routinely journeyed between there and Castlebar. On the 7th of March 1921, IRA men from both companies went into position on the Partry Road at the townland of Kilfall. As the lorry under the command of Captain Chatfield approached the ambush, fire was opened and the driver was hit. The lorry stopped. Tom Maguire, brigade commander, chose Martin Conway from Cltme.ie near Shra, saying to him, "Bring down the driver of the lorry. If you have him, you have the rest of them copped." However, many of the soldiers got out at the back of the lorry and returned fire. After a short, sharp engagement, the British retreated towards Ballinrobe, leaving their lorry and its contents behind. 1 member of the British forces was killed and 2 were injured. 6 to 8 service rifles were now in our possession. Intense police and army activity followed, and a man from Shra, Thomas Horan, who had absolutely nothing to do with the ambush, was shot dead while sitting at his own fireside.
This was said to be the first engagement against British military forces in South Mayo since 1798.
As the year 1921 progressed, the Royal Irish Constabulary, the RIC, in outlying rural stations began to feel unsafe and isolated, and some barracks were actually closed. One isolated station was at Derry Park, where the barracks was a strongly built house under the cliffs of Buchan Mountain. It had been built in the 1880s. There was a garrison of 12 RIC in Derry Park, but by mid-1921 it was isolated, as 2 supporting barracks in Partry and Ballyglass had withdrawn their garrisons for safety. Other smaller barracks in the area had also been closed, namely Cross, Cong and Clonbur.
Derry Park Barracks was supplied from Ballinrobe by the RIC. The IRA watched the convoy and decided to deal with this force.